Hey guys, this is Patriot J. I wanted to do this special show for you right here because, a lot of people are asking who are these weather, let me start over. Is Antifa? Who is Antifa? And let me explain something. Groups like these are usually started in a way that is uh, through really sly people, okay? These groups like Antifa, this time was done through communist professors who think that they could indoctrinate, people like Moldy Locks and the people you see, and we laugh and it's all funny, but it's not really that funny because, these groups can get out of hand. Now, before I go into it, I want to quote you a quote. And it's going to make sense when I'm finished after you hear, what happened back in the 1960s. But I've got a icon up here by Mark Twain, and it says, "History doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes." All right? Keep that in mind. History doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes, which means some things sound very familiar from other things, from another event in the past, and so it appears as a rhyme. Well, back in the 1960s, there was a group called the Weathermen or the Weather Underground, and they were a terrorist group just as nasty as Antifa. The only difference so far is that Antifa hasn't went so far into bombing government buildings, which the Weathermen did do that. And I'm gonna, for example, this is their symbol right here. I'm gonna make it bigger. Uh, Move some of these around a little bit. I'm gonna make it bigger. This was their symbol back in the day. It was the Weather Underground. They had a rainbow and they had a lightning bolt going through it. And sometimes they had a rainbow and a storm cloud over it, which essentially meant you can feel safe on your rainbow world, but when we come out, we're going to make it hell for you. And that's what they're saying, and that's what they're saying with the lightning bolt. This was a group that ended up um, killing several of their own people because they didn't put the bomb together properly and blew themselves up, and that's how they were found. But before they were actually located, they were always out protesting, smashing people in the face, stabbing people. Same thing as Antifa does. Same thing. Underground with the same type of people. Far left communists, you name it, they did it. Now, do you see something that looks familiar in this picture? I'm moving this picture around right here, and I'm going to try to enlarge it. This girl right here, she's pretty, right? She's very, very pretty girl. Her name was Bernadine Dorn. A very young college student, and she got indoctrinated into this Weather Underground. And until the main leader got arrested, I think she was with him at the time. Well, not with him when he was arrested, of course, because they were still looking for her. But I believe she ended up blowing herself up in that building I was talking about. They were actually making bombs, and she was killed. Now, does that not parallel Moldy Locks to some degree? Look how beautiful this girl is. And she was taken from a person who was totally, from a middle class family. And as you see her there, she is a criminal. She's a criminal. Here's a picture of several of the underground that were placed in the newspaper that were arrested. A lot of them, some of them, I've got other pictures where their faces are busted up because they fought the cops. I mean, I'm telling you, they were just as nasty. But this right here was their logo, which was the rainbow, and this was one of the things that they were putting up around Chicago. Bring the war home, Chicago, October 11th, and it shows their fighters, and they didn't bother to hide it. They would fight you with a gun if need be. Now, one more picture that I'm going to show you is one of the major things they did, which really, really ticked everybody off, because it was if I can find it here. I meant to put it on ahead of time. Here we go. Alright. Does anybody recognize what that is? That is the thinker. Alright, you know, the guy that's sitting on the, you know, thinking. He's sitting there naked and he's sitting there on a boulder just thinking, you know. That there was more than one of these statues made, and they were we have one in the US and there's some in Europe, and just so happens the Weatherman blew the only one we have up. They blew it off the pedestal. They put a bomb on it at something like 3 o'clock in the morning, I think. They did not want to hurt somebody, but they wanted to make a statement to the establishment that they were not putting up, you know, with the same thing, capitalism, the same exact thing that Antifa's doing. Well, they put it at the base and blew it up. This thing went 60 feet in the air and landed on cement and busted it up pretty good. So they put it back together as well as they could, but it's scraped up, it's messed up. It was an original art piece. This was a copy of the Thinker that it's an original copy, and it really caused a stir when this happened. So we need to be aware that this group can do anything. Look at this girl here. Look. Moldy locks. It's unfortunate. It really is. She's a beautiful girl, and she's been corrupted by garbage. A lot of these guys, you know, so a lot of them come from. A lot of times the guys get pulled out from, you know, street kids. They're just pulled straight from being street kids. But there's nothing new about Antifa. There is nothing new about them, period. They are who they are, and always remember, history doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes. And how did it rhyme? With Bernadette Dorn right there. She was a major influence along with the leader, and I should have put his name up here because I can't think of his name at the moment. It's a simple name, last name. But all this right here is the same setup, the same thing, funded by radical leftists like Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, Michelle Obama, and Bill Clinton, anybody that's a Clinton, okay? Obviously not the people who aren't directly kin, you know. But this is what you get. And it's sadness and fortunate that there's a time that comes where you can talk to people and you can try to hold your First Amendment right. But when it comes to a point where they don't want to listen to you and they don't want to talk to you anymore, then unfortunately violence has to be met with violence. It's sad but unfortunate. But this is not a new concept. I urge you guys that are interested, go read on the Weather Underground or the Weatherman. They go by either one, Weather Underground or the Weatherman. Look into it. It's a very interesting story. Get you a book, settle down and read it. Because, my friends, history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. And it's knowledge to you if you read it. Thank you very much, guys. I love you and I love America. I'm Patriot J, and I'm out. I hope you enjoyed this. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell. Thank you very much. God bless you all.